You're listening to the Digital Deep Dive, where we tackle the newest trends, strategies, and pain points shaping growth across the digital landscape. From Amazon and D2C to international expansion, join our host and e-commerce leaders across multiple industries for in-depth discussions on how to maximize your brands in the digital arena. Now, here's your host, Aaron Conant.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Digital Deep Dive podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Conant, and today we got Dan Brownsher, a great longtime friend, partner, supporter of the network, over at Channel Key, doing some great stuff. A lot in the Amazon space, but when I was catching up with him recently, he's talking about the expansion into the Omnichannel, the Omnichannel, whatever that means. The Omnichannel expansion.
The Omnichannel.
Yeah, the Omnichannel across the landscape. And it's been coming up a ton in my conversations. When he said, hey, it's been coming up a ton, it's a key focus of what they're doing and looking at. I said, hey, we should have a conversation on that. And then we started to talk a little bit about agentic commerce. And then, coming out of CES and NRF, the announcements coming out of there around, Google, OpenAI, trying to lay the pipes and the groundwork for what that might look like. And then I said, hey, pause, we should just do a podcast. So here we are. Dan, I'll get over to you. Do you want to, background yourself, the company, what you guys do? That would be awesome. And then we'll just kind of roll into a conversation. Sound good?
Let's do it. So my name is Dan Brownsher. I am the founder and now executive chairman of Channel Key. Started the business in 2017. We've gone through evolutions of this business. Started as a single kind of threaded Amazon commerce agency and have since expanded into more of a channel agnostic or digital commerce acceleration platform where we work with generally mid-market enterprise brands, even service businesses that want to leverage various digital marketplace channels, Amazon, Walmart, Target, Chewy, Shopify, et cetera, to drive commerce. And we do a lot of retail media work as well. So I'm an Amazon guy at heart, built a fairly large Amazon private label business that was sold and then built an agency starting in 2017. So
I love it. I come from the private label world, so I totally love it. So what, really good. So you start off on the Amazon side, all in, and then when is the shift? Is this, obviously it's got to be a demand from customers, but also you can kind of see, you get a really good vantage point running a company. When does the shift happen? And then have you been seeing the same thing I am, that this is a huge conversation right now? It is everything, you're right, from the other marketplaces, even to like TikTok and what Meta. Right. Do.
That's right. So we're seeing a shift. But if you take a step back and kind of look at it from the macro, the adoption of e-commerce versus brick and mortar commerce, right? E-commerce continues to go up. I don't know what the percentage is off the top of my head, but it's going up and to the right. COVID forced adoption much faster than it kind of regressed or reverted back to the trend line it was on. So you've got this macro environment where people are more comfortable shopping online, and that's going to continue. And so ultimately what that boils down to, my brand is trust. People trust that they consume products on the internet and that they can, whatever they think they're buying, they'll actually get, and they'll get it at a fair price. And if they have a problem with it, they can return it. So you've got that background. And then with that, I think you've got more adoption of different channels. TikTok Shop obviously is one. But these legacy brands like Walmart Commerce has always trailed behind Amazon. They continue to invest in the platform, and their user adoption continues, and their retail media environment continues. You've got more specific category marketplaces. So we're seeing a lot of traction with Home Depot. We've got clients historically where they have big Amazon businesses, but we're also seeing now specific clients in specific categories where their Home Depot spend online exceeds their Amazon spend, and the volume also. So that's new. And so, and then you've got Chewy, right? So we work with a lot of pet brands, and sometimes Chewy businesses are larger than Amazon businesses. So I think the net is, yes, our clients are asking us to do more work for them and support them across different channels. but that's because that's where their customers are, right? It's not because the channel is so amazing. It's because the consumer is shopping on these platforms. And so there's just this natural adoption to these other marketplaces. Amazon is still the big bad leader and is still the one where you can, in my opinion, turn the dials and the knobs and create an outcome based on things that you're doing. But these other marketplaces are coming up and they're doing well.
Yeah, I was just thinking about this, that I like what you said about the trust side, right? Because what Amazon has put in is like this trust of buying stuff online. And there's enough years of it now that that trust, I think, is being, it's overflowing into other legit marketplaces like Kachuki, Walmart, when they opened up the floodgates to all these 3P sellers, and we just did a dinner earlier this week, and we had Walmart Marketplace there, and they're making some really good strides of trying to like, whoa, maybe the gates were too wide open. Yeah. So, but they're getting back. I think they have a focus on that. But even, in Etsy or like you said, Depot, these people are like, wait, okay, I've done it on Amazon. I've done it for 10 years now. And it's just starting to get to this point, like, okay, I'm going to start, I don't know, widening my shopping habits. So I think it's driven, in my mind, it's driven by that customer, like you were saying. It's where the customer's at now.
Right.
And you can't afford not to be there now. And this is interesting because a few years back, everybody was like, omnichannel. Yeah, it's great to be there, but they were not seeing the returns they need to.
That's right.
I think we're at that point now. At least it sounds like what you're seeing as well.
Yeah, but right, you don't need to be on every channel, right? Like there's still specific channels that work for brands, right? And so, yes, omnichannel is important, but I'm not suggesting that brands go out and connect in and put a product feed into every single platform that exists. That's not the way, right? The way is, and this is what we're seeing, is a very strategic management of assortment, right? That's based on logistics. That's based on SKU-level profitability. That's based on media spend, right? And kind of managing spend and assortment across various channels, but it's got to be orchestrated, right? It's not just a syndicate and push everything. That ain't the way. That is not the way. Like the way is to orchestrate it really carefully and do it highly strategically and, down to, hey, I make more margin on this item on Walmart than I do on Amazon, and Amazon's threatening to shut it down for reasons A, B, or C. Like I'm going to strategically not sell that item on Amazon. I'm going to put it on Walmart, and I'm going to put it on my Shopify side, and I'm going to move that media spend over to that platform, right? So it's just that's what we're seeing.
Yeah, I was just laughing a little bit because it was the original approach with Amazon. Throw everything you have up there, which is what they're promoting, right? And you're just throwing everything up there. And then people realize like, okay, I have to do some kind of SKU rationalization, right? Because either Amazon's forcing it because things are crapping out, or I'm not making any money. So they're going through that. And then when they start to dabble on these other marketplaces, they take an interesting approach, right? Which is throw it up on as many marketplaces as possible, as many products as possible. It's like, to your point, like, no, like that didn't work on the biggest marketplace around that everybody's using. It's your highest source of online revenue.
Yeah.
Why would you change your approach with all these other ones? It's kind of comical, but you see it. I see it over and over again. But it adds a layer of complexity. And one of the things that concerns me is I still don't think at the executive level within a lot of organizations, they understand the complexity of what's going on. I saw, I would say, a huge reduction in workforce over the course of last year in e-commerce departments. And I'm talking to people now, and the size and the scope of the accounts they have in the digital space is, like when I hear it, I'm just like, I don't even know how you do it. Like you don't have enough time in the month, let alone in a year, a week, a day to do anything that they're asking you. And now to your point of you're adding these marketplaces because you have to omnichannel, because you have to be there to show the growth. And yet that layer of complexity of, okay, now I'm not just thinking about my assortment and profitability, unit economics on an individual marketplace, but potentially from marketplace to marketplace.
Yeah, yeah, and then the spend, like this kind of media mix modeling thing, right? Which there's softwares that do this, and we do a lot of this work. Is like, how are you going to move this spend from marketplace to marketplace and do it as quickly as you can, and do it in a way that is justified via profitability or incrementality, which everybody is talking about. And then yes, you've got to do the other blocking and tackling work around merchant ops or forecasting or SKU level profitability. It's hard. It's a lot of work. And the reduction in force topic is a hard one. We've seen some of that as well. We've also seen a lot of that counterbalanced with the use of AI, right? And the creation of efficiency around that. And that's always a tricky topic. And we're seeing it in different business types as well, but we're also seeing increased efficiency because of the access to more data, more tools.
Yeah, I mean, what I see from a brand perspective is they are already so busy. They know
Yeah.
they have to do the next thing. They just don't have the time for it at the end of the day. That's just the reality.
Right.
Amazon can take up 60 hours a week. And
100%.
hey, we need to add on 4 more marketplaces to hit our goals because there's a volume in the sales and we hear the competition is there and we see what they're doing, but still don't have the time. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, do you see the same thing? And then are you able to do that analysis for brands where you just sit down with them and say, hey, we see what you're doing on Amazon. Here's your potential. There's 50 other marketplaces. These are the 3 that you should be on. And then just help them get up and going on it?
Yeah. So part of what we do is this growth strategy consulting type work.
Okay.
Part of it. It's channel review, it's assortment review, it's profitability review, it's spend review analysis. The answer is that's part of why we're hired by clients, either on a project basis or retainer basis, is to say, hey, like we think we're doing okay, but we're not sure. We think there's more opportunity, but we're not sure. Right. And so we can come in and do that type of work, to evaluate strategic opportunities. And it could be, again, it could be on Amazon, it could be on Meta, it could be on Chewy, right? And then we can deliver on the execution if they need it. So, we like businesses that are complex. We like complex businesses, Aaron, where there's a lot of channel ops and a lot of SKU assortment and category assortment. Right, that complexity is where we can step in and support. But I recognize that also creates compression and challenges for people that are on the brand side.
Yeah, for sure. So are you seeing new tools, strategies to go like omnichannel? I think way back in the day of just like a channel advisor, like Scott Wingo and what he built there. Super cool. Now Rhythm or whatever they're called. There's a said commerce out there. There's a channel engine out there. There's is that the current level of tool, or are there new things that are popping up? Like when you look at a brand, you're like, hey, do they actually need it? Because all of these take a percentage of the flow through. Like people are charged with it, but the strategy and then the tools and the partners to help them do it is the next level stuff. Yeah. And then we can also get into, that leads then into agentic commerce, I think, with, anyways. Yeah.
So to your point, and like we used to use in my previous life, when we had this private label business, we were a channel advisor customer, back in 2014 or 15. Right. And so the softwares that are basically laying the pipes for the flow of information, those exist and they have existed. I think where most of the growth I'm seeing from a provider or software perspective is related to consuming the data, right? Either to define profitability or incrementality across various channels, or to help with execution around pushing spend across channels in a way that is most effective and or profitable and or efficient. So like that's the growth. That's a growth opportunity. And what we're seeing is there's a lot of pipes that exist. You can push the data through, but the analyzation of the information and how to perform better is where the growth is. And then, yeah, your point about like AI tools and agentic commerce is spot on. And we're seeing some of those developments happening right now, right? Like the announcement out of CES or right around CES of the UCP, like this universal commerce protocol that is basically, in my view, helping to create the pipes and or the infrastructure for agentic commerce. OpenAI's got their system as well, but that's like the phase we're at. Like the old channel advisor days from the early 2000s or 2010-ish, where the pipes were being laid for the transfer of data and information, to now in the LLM environment or the agentic environment, creating these protocols and or pipes to do commerce transactionally. We haven't. I think that's one layer of support. Like the other layer is search and optimization within these LLMs, whether that's GEO or whatever you want to call it, right? That's the layer on top of it. So it's like, so one layer is, can I do the transaction? Can I go through the checkout? Can I build my basket? Can the data transfer from the LLM to my system so I can process the order and do it in a consistent way? And then it's great. I can do that. The pipes are set up. Now, how the heck do I make sure that my product gets indexed in this conversational, nebulous search environment?
Right, because who cares? You can have everything set up on the back end, but if you're not showing up in the LLMs,
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. There's no action to be taken at the end of the day, right? Just kind of sits out there. But yeah, I think that's huge. It's one of the biggest topics that I'm seeing right now.
Topic. Yeah, it's the topic. I mean, I spent 5 days on the Las Vegas Strip at CES, and yes, I saw some really cool tech, but ultimately the conversation is around channels and agentic commerce. And nobody's raising their hand and saying, I've got this figured out. I know how to do this. I think everybody's trying to figure it out and waiting and testing and learning. And it's an interesting time.
Yeah, I think this, one of the hardest things, and whether it's agentic or the service providers are going to help with it, or any other kind of AI ML tool that brands are plugging in, as they plug in, they're finding every brand has their information stored in a different format, in a different file folder, on a different system, ERP, PIM, and whatever it might be. And so the tool comes in and it does not know where to go find. And so you have to spend all this time training it, let alone trying to figure out how people have mislabeled files over the years, or it's drawing from a file that it thought was X and it was really Y. And so there's a lot of training and a lot of breaking. And I think the organization of the data, and maybe some of these things that OpenAI and Google are doing are going to help, even Shopify, get this stuff into an order.
That's right.
And when it does, it begs the next question, which is, do you need, for that interaction to take place, do you need a direct consumer site at all? Or can it all just work on the back end? If there's going to be the agent that doesn't care, if you have the pretty floral background, with, moving pictures or whatever to catch your eye and get you to stop and click on the ad that's on the site, if it can just execute on the back end, do we need the front end of the site or not?
So the answer is maybe. I think the front end of the site is a great marketing tool, and it's a great way for the brand to be represented within their brand voice, within their style guide, with whatever messaging they want to put out to the world. Like, I absolutely think that's useful. And or for existing customers or loyal customers that have set up some sort of, it could be a subscription model directly with the brand. Like, you don't want to transact, at least today, with an LLM or with an agent. If you can set up the brand relationship directly, great. If you want to research, great. I do think that this underlying search and browse and perhaps transaction layer can still live within a different environment. And that will continue. But again, like brands are built off of trust with the consumer. And is the trust layer going to be with the agent in Gemini or in OpenAI, or is it still going to be with the brand? And their choice, the consumer's choice on where they buy and who they buy from, is that going to be purely based on the recommendation within the agent? Or is it going to be a combination of agent recommendation and my own separate research where I engage directly with the brand on their platform? So I don't know. That's an interesting question. What's the source of truth of trust for the consumer? My gut tells me that it's probably still on the brand's website. But I don't know. I suppose that can change over time.
I hadn't thought about it that way, but if the LLM or whatever chatbot you're using, which is at the end of the day, I guess what these are, if it leads you down the wrong path, how long before you trust it to do it again? I mean, on a human side, it's completely different, right? Perfect example, planning a vacation using ChatGPT, and I say, hey, these are the dates that I want to be gone. And it misaligns the dates with the days in the week.
Mm-hmm.
Now I question everything with it. You know what I mean? Along that vacation that we're planning, I have to go back and double check like literally everything. And all it says is, hey, I'm sorry, let me redo it. Like every vacation going forward, I will now double check. Anyways, it's just interesting.
What's the saying, right? It's easy to credibility and or trust. Like it takes a long time to earn that, but you can lose it really quickly, right? And so I envision, Aaron, that, and I already have one, but it will develop, is I'm going to have my own agent, right? That does things for me. And whether that's related to shopping or my personal financial advisor or my travel agent, right? That's going to be my agent that I train. And my expectation of that agent is that they're going to know me. They're going to know the nuance, and that if it makes a mistake, I'm going to be able to train it to no longer make that mistake. But like any other relationship, I'm going to have to trust the agent, right? Same thing. If I have a buddy or whatever, like part of why you're my buddy is because I trust you. And so why is that any different with an agent, right, than it is with a human being? Obviously, I know the difference, but the concept is the same.
Right.
And even if the agent or my buddy goes to tell me to buy a certain product, I'm still going to do my own research and verify and validate. So there's a place for both.
Yeah. What about on the content side? As I'm going down this path, I know it's kind of a jump, but from the agent aspect, we're going to want marketers, right? So I'm thinking, hey, I'm on all these different marketplaces now. We've got all these ads running, all these social media feeds. I need a ton of content. I'm going to ask my agent to go create me content or whatever, partner I have, and they're going to have an agent essentially that you plug into. How do people tackle the content piece that they need to hit all these omni-channel?
Okay. Great. So our opinion about content is the muscles to create content, whether you're doing production content or creative work, are the same. Whether you're displaying that content on Amazon or Shopify or Meta or whatever, right? Like the format might change, like TikTok versus an Amazon product detail page. Like the mechanics to create the content are very similar. And so to do it at scale, now's a great time for that. I mean, I'm seeing these workflows in N8N where, you can build a whole database in some platform, maybe it's Airtable, and then create a workflow where you're producing content at scale using Gemini, using Nano Banana with prompting, and like you can build content in mass at scale. But there's obviously tools that are also doing basically the same thing, but in a cleaner interface. And so if anybody ever in the history of time needed to create content at scale, now is the best and easiest time to do it. And it's still not even that good.
You can build that competitor to Bazaar Voice. Any of those two is $1 billion business.
That's right. Exactly. So interesting too. Like, I don't know, it feels like there's this like new sport on social media or various channels where people are trying to decide whether or not some image or creative is AI or not. Right. And it's like a sport to say, yeah, oh, that's AI. Like I caught you. That's AI. That's not AI. But ultimately, I don't think it's going to matter. Like, I don't think the consumer is going to care if it's AI or not. Right. Assuming it's true or true enough that they can trust it, I don't think it matters. It's a sad thing to say. It's sad. I was born in 1981, so I saw the digital and analog eras, and so part of me says it's sad, but that's just I don't have a choice. Like that's where
if you remember the not this past year's the 2025 Coca-Cola Christmas ad, but the 2024 one that was almost all AI CGI, and if you looked at LinkedIn around that time, and any of the marketers out there were blowing up about how could they do this, and that it was horrible, and that it didn't look real, and all this other stuff. But if you look at it, it was the outside of the core group of marketing professionals who are analyzing it and kind of irritated with how it looked. In the general public, it was one of the highest received, highest performing ads of a Christmas ad of all time. Like, to your point, the general public isn't going to care. You may, as a marketer, as a content generation person, as an artist, you may care, but the general public, they don't really care. You just don't. You're selling a box of Cheez-Its, and it's
like
who cares.
So if the human in the ad is that's holding a Cheez-It, if that's a real person or not, does that matter?
I know. It's like we didn't care when it was a cartoon, right? Or an owl, licking the Tootsie Pop. Right? 1, 2, 3. Like all of a sudden, hey, if it's something that's, I don't know, maybe it's just because it's trying to mimic a human that people get irritated. But in the past, there's a lot of commercials that clearly didn't have, like Tony the Tiger, everybody isn't real, right? It's not a real tiger.
That's a great analogy, Aaron. It's a perfect analogy.
But now we care. What is top of mind for you? We're kicking off 2026 here. What's top of mind for you as a whole? What are you most excited about? Maybe it's a good way to put it as well.
So some of this we've already talked about. What I'm most excited about is just this continued growth and development of digital commerce channels, right? And the integration that's happening. And so again, my world historically has been Amazon based. But that's changed drastically. And so helping brands understand their digital commerce opportunities and footprint is super relevant. Not because I think it's cool, but because like that's what they're asking us to do. And again, that's where the consumer is living. And so that adoption is super exciting to me. And I still think it's very early. But there's just so much growth there. And then layering that against agentic commerce and GEO and product discovery, and how in some cases, like agentic commerce could represent some sort of existential threat to first, like an Amazon, right? If searching and browsing is happening on these LLMs versus in the Amazon environment, well, how does that translate? Does that pull business off of Amazon? How does that affect their advertising business? Right? Like it's a super interesting concept if Amazon blocks some of these agentic commerce protocols. So that's what I'm interested in. And I'm also interested in helping our clients index in LLMs. We're We've got a beta program around that to solve that issue. So that's on my list.
Yeah.
Channel expansion, kind of media mix modeling, incrementality, attribution, and then agentic commerce / GEO. Like those are the hot topics.
Yeah, they are. I mean, they're the hardest to solve too, right?
Yeah.
Like that is awesome. I'm glad there's people out there like you, like just trying to solve it, figure it out. I mean, it's constantly moving, but just really appreciate you and the value you guys bring to the network and everybody in it. Encourage everybody, check out Channel Key. They're great friends, partners, supporters of not only the network, but a ton of brands in it. But with that, we're going to wrap up this episode of the Digital Deep Dive. Thanks everybody for listening in.